TJ, let's stay in the NFL and talk about another NFL quarterback. He's not getting benched, but he has struggled this year. And I know it's hard for people to say that Patrick Mahomes is not playing well. We saw in their last game on Sunday, I don't even know what. He had a fumble 6 and a pick 6 in 6 seconds. Turnovers, penalties, drop balls, all kinds of stuff are going on with Kansas City. But it's pretty ugly right now, and they've lost 5 of their last 8. They haven't clinched the playoff spot. And today, or this might have come out yesterday, no, it was this morning, Chiefs legend and 2-time Pro Bowler, Dante Hall, guess what he said? He had some blunt advice for Patrick Mahomes on NFL's Good Morning Football. Take a listen, TJ.
Secondly, Patrick Mahomes, I love you. You're my favorite quarterback. But I think you need to fall in love with the mundane. Yes, for 5 years we have been used to the big plays of Tyreek, to Kelsey, and all of that. It's time to be check down Tom Brady. Fall in love with the swing route, the check downs. These plays have been there for the taking, and that's pretty much what we need to get back to, right? Check down.
TJ, you have the floor. My goodness gracious, this guy, Patrick Mahomes, won 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, the resume is stacked, but he is having a down year.
He's not having a year we're accustomed to, and it's shocking.
It is shocking to watch, isn't it? Come on.
It's shocking. And the reason Mahomes must take a lot of the blame is because when the Chiefs win, he pretty much gets all of the credit. And so you can't have it both ways. It can't be, and this is always with all quarterbacks, they can't get all the credit when things are great.
See, I'm with you.
And be absolved of all the blame when things are bad.
Yes.
And that's how we do with the quarterbacks. They're not winning. Oh, he don't have enough pieces. Oh, the offensive line can't block. Oh, his receivers aren't getting open.
Catch. Right.
But as soon as you give them the pieces, you forget about the pieces that you complained about previously. And so, yeah, he must take some of the blame. And that's what it is. We expect so much out of him because he's shown us he can do it. He's gotten Kansas City out of so much before their defense was what it was now, or what it is now. I mean, before their defense couldn't stop anybody, so Mahomes had to save the day.
They're top 5 now, right?
Now they're number 4 in the league.
Right.
And so, yes, are the Chiefs receivers dropping balls? Yeah. But Mahomes isn't playing how he's always played.
And that's frustration. You see the frustration on the sideline.
We've never seen that out of Mahomes. We haven't seen that type of frustration. So that lets you know it's getting to him. It's getting to him because even when Mahomes was at his best, when they had Tyreek Hill and everybody was afraid of him, he had bad games, but he didn't have bad games consecutively in a row where the offense can't move the ball. The Raiders didn't complete a pass in the last 3 quarters and won the game.
Can you believe that? In a game that Patrick Mahomes was a quarter. Can you believe that, TJ?
And so Mahomes must take some of the blame because he gets all of the credit. Now, what Dante Hall said has some truth to it, but it also comes with Andy Reid saying, you know what? Let's stop trying to get these chunk plays all the time, and let's run some ball control style offense. Let's run some drag routes. Let's run some quick outs. Let's get the ball out of his hands faster. Let's get him playing in a rhythm. Let's get away from all these off-script plays where he has to run around in a pocket and try to create something every time. So Mahomes can take it when it's there, but Andy Reid can call it to where Mahomes has no choice but to take it.
And let's hear we got some sound from Patrick Mahomes. I think it's on his frustrations.
People see frustration and they think it causes controversy. But I see it as a way of showing that people care. They care about their profession. They care about trying to do whatever they can to win games. And so when I see stuff like that happen, obviously we want to be in a positive light and everything like that. But I see someone that cares about the game and someone that wants to be better, and not better for themselves but for the team.
I'll say this. the one where he went berserk with Tony, you remember? He was offside clearly. Like they were jumping around like they should be given that play, TJ. Was he not clearly lined up offsides?
Oh, yeah.
You're
a receiver. You're a receiver.
Tell me how that happens, TJ. You played in the NFL.
When you're on the ball, you always check. You always check. And if you're
what do you check for? Are you looking for the ref? Are you looking at the ball? What are you looking at when you line up? What are you looking at?
You're looking at the ref to make sure that you're not past the ball. You're not technically offsides. And if you are, every single time, the ref will just give you his hand like back up, or he'll tell you scoot up every single time, or they'll give you a thumb up. And so, it's just a habit. It's something that every receiver does. And so even if you don't do it, when you look in at the ball, you got to realize ooh, I'm offsides. Like I'm lining up with the tackles. If I'm on the ball, if I'm the X receiver, I'm lining up with the left or right tackle.
Don't you remember D Ford lined up offsides and the big play with Brady threw the game-losing interception and was called back?
Yes.
D Ford lined up offside.
And so that was, they were there. Oh, that's not you never make that call. Yeah, but you don't never see a receiver do that either. When last time we seen a receiver line up like that?
I haven't.
Yeah, refs don't call that. They don't call it because receivers don't do it.
They don't, and to be that far off, when you see the video, it ain't even close. It ain't like a thumbnail or a toenail. You know what? It ain't even. He's so offsides.
There are certain players like Kadarius Toney he's talented. He's very physically talented, but there's some players, man, that mentally, the game is moving too fast. It's just not for him from a mental perspective, and he may be one of those guys to where the game is too much mentally. That may be the case. I wasn't. I did the draft on Fox myself, Joe Klatt, when he got drafted, and just go back and if you can find it and listen to what I said when he got drafted. I didn't like the draft pick when the Giants drafted him, and I thought he was talented. I thought he was talented, but I didn't like the draft pick when the Giants drafted him, and so those are things that are driving Mahomes crazy. And then we're dropping the ball. And Kelsey's throwing his helmet. Andy Reid is bumping him.
What about Kelsey? When it got he already this year talked about retiring. Is that a good sign when you start to hear players talk about retiring? I mean, are you checking out? Are you half in, half out? All the distractions with Taylor Swift? I mean, everybody has a girlfriend or a wife or whatever.
That's not a distraction,
It's not,
man.
but I'm just saying, but like it just seemed like there's so much going on and he's not the same guy.
That I will say that, like the Taylor, just because she's famous, that's not a distraction.
Everybody's got a wife or girlfriend.
We have wives, we have girlfriends. She just so happened to be
a celebrity,
very famous, and so that's not a factor. The retirement thing, I don't get that. Because the game of football, at least for me, was so fun. And to me, you play until you can't play anymore because when it's over, it's over. You can never get that back. And he may think about it. I don't know too many players that are just going to retire and can still play. A lot of times the league don't want you or your body just, I can't go anymore. And so for me, that retirement talk is just frustration. We are not used to seeing this. They are not used to playing this way and doing this. Like, you got to understand, this is the Chiefs. They go up and down the field on everybody offensively.
They've had 3 games. What, they have 3 games in a row where they didn't score in the second half this year?
Yes.
Like three games in a row, TJ. Like,
this is the Chiefs, and many have said Patrick Mahomes is not the greatest, but he's on his way to being that. And to
you can't say that this year. I'll tell you that.
Play the way that they've played offensively, it's concerning. It really is.
Now Hall is saying he should check down Charlie, Tom Brady, whatever, and
but they don't run
and all that.
Their offense is built. Their offense is different. Andy Reid wants to get the ball down the field, and so every offense has some elements of there being a check down,
right?
But Mahomes has gotten spoiled with getting a chunk play, making plays happen off script, getting outside of the pocket.
Right. I don't think he
plays.
could go back. I don't think he could go backwards. I mean,
that's
he's
not
had
in
so
his
much
DNA,
success, right?
That's not in his DNA to check the ball down or, let me just get this 3-yard completion when I could possibly get outside the pocket, because a lot of his great plays where you're like, wow, he's out the pocket, he throws it with his left hand. Touchdown. He's out of the pocket. He makes a crazy throw when he's getting sacked. That's why Mahomes is Mahomes, because of those type of plays. So now you want to rein that in. I don't know if you can do that, because that's what makes him special. And you can't – that's something he does naturally. He was born that way. His mind thinks differently, and he's able to create plays without feeling that pressure and that stress of that play. That's why he's Mahomes.
But it says a lot that people would even talk about changing anything from this guy who's had so much success.
Nah.
It tells you how bad it is, and people are looking at it and kind of in some shock of how poorly the offense is. And you could – people, if you want to go ahead and just only blame the offensive line and only blame – Mahomes had 2 bad turnovers in the game. Did he not? In 6 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, the first one was the play call, the fumble was like, what are they doing backed up?
Right.
And they call that kind of a trick type of play formation. And then Jack Jones is just – he a baller.
He's sitting there waiting on that.
Jack Jones is a baller. He was in a bell technique. He had his eyes on the quarterback. And when Mahomes pulled that arm back to throw the ball, he
was
jumped
on his
it.
way.
Yeah, he had his eyes on the quarterback the whole time, but he's that type of player. I coached Jack in high school. Great ball skills. Could have been a receiver in college. That's how talented he was with the ball in his hands. And so if the ball's around him, it's an interception. He's a defensive back, but could really be a receiver. That's how great his ball skills are. But Mahomes and the Chiefs, he doesn't trust the receivers fully. There's just no way. They're going to say all the right things publicly. Right. But when you drop the ball and you don't make the plays over a game or two, okay. The entire season,
right? There's only 2 games left.
It's Kelsey or bust.
Right. It's the entire
That's what it is now.
Right.
It's Kelsey or bust of the run game. And can you blame him?
And we want to hear from you. Dante Hall, a Chiefs legend, said, hey, Patrick, rein it in. Become Tom Brady. Checkdowns, dinking and dunking. Stop looking for the home run. Should Mahomes change his style, or should he stay the course? Stay what he's always done and had success doing? So I know, TJ, people are biting at the bit to get at this one.
Yeah, we have. I believe I'm going to pronounce this name correctly, and if I don't, let me know. Woogie in L.A. You on the Odd Couple. What you have for us?
Who's you know, Woogie?
What's up,
Woogie.
my man?
Respected your game coming over the middle. I'm 37. I watched you a lot. I respect it. You did a great job, and happy that you're on the next journey of your career, man.
Thank you, bro.
With him doing checkdowns, Tom Brady never had like a huge supporting cast as wide receivers. He had Randy Moss. He had, they added little pieces that were fit to his game. I don't think that Mahomes has ever had that. I mean, I know he had Tyreek Hill. He had Tyrese Kelsey.
What do you mean he had Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill, a Hall of
Outside of
Famer.
that, I don't think he had anyone.
Yeah, but he had Tyreek Hill. I mean, that team was unbelievable.
Tyreek Hill going to go down in history as one of the top 5 receivers to ever play.
No doubt. He played with a great one. All right, thanks, Woogie. Appreciate the call. I mean, he was the only problem I had, TJ, was kind of poo-pooing that he played with Tyreek Hill. No.
Right.
Come on. If you take Tyreek Hill off him this first couple of years, I don't know if he has any MVPs or Super Bowls. Do you? I'm not positive.
Nah. You see how teams are playing them. You see how Buffalo played them
right.
in that playoff game. They're not playing them that way without Tyreek. That's for sure. We got Dre in Michigan. You're on the Odd Couple. What you got for us?
Rob P., what's going on?
What's up, Dre?
You got it, TJ. Good to talk to you, man. Last time I talked to you was a couple years ago. You told me to shut up and stay in my lane.
There you go.
I ain't do that. No, I ain't do that.
That don't even sound like TJ. That don't sound like
Hold on. He didn't quite say it like that, but I asked him to name a Lions player, and he was like, St. Brown. He was like, don't act like I don't know nobody. So he didn't say it like that, but that's how I took it, because St. Brown is a beast. That's how I hear it now.
Okay.
I need to stay on my lane, because you know what you're talking about. Some people know football, some people understand it. So I said to stay on my lane now. So, but no, with Mahomes, I wouldn't change it, dude. Not at all, because if you look at they 9-6 right now, and 2 of the games that they lost was directly because those receivers dropped the ball. The first game
you can't play, Dre. I'm gonna stop you.
Yeah.
You can't play that
Go
game.
ahead.
You can't. That TJ. This is what. This.
I'm
gonna tell you why. This happens every day in the NFL, TJ. Am I right or wrong? There's so many plays. Oh, if he wasn't offside. Oh, if he wasn't holding. Oh, if they did this. You can do that. You can't do that just for Patrick Mahomes and saying but that's what people do. It happens all the time. I watched other games where guys have thrown touchdowns and had them called back, and they didn't win the game.
I get that. What I'm saying, Rob, is that when my man dropped the pass for Philly, would they not have won that game?
No, but I'm just saying you could do that for everybody. I just think that's a cop-out.
But there's excuse and there are explanations. You talking about why his numbers are down. If they catch those passes and make those plays, are his numbers
okay?
Not
And then this past week he had a fumble and an interception. And that was the receivers.
I put that all on Pat Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes has like double digits interceptions. It's not just drop balls. He's turned the ball over as well.
But how many of those interceptions were results of passes the ball?
It don't matter. They're interceptions in the book. They still count. I don't see any. There's no section that says tip interceptions and interceptions when you look at the stats. There's no such
Not
thing.
At all, but you're right. We could just agree to disagree with that one. So, but yeah, I think he should keep it the same though.
All right, that's fair. Just say that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to nitpick and TJ, like every time, he didn't do that. Well, if Tom Brady would have 10 Super Bowls if Peyton Manning didn't throw that ball to Manningham up to he made an unbelievable catch. That was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like you could do that on everything, couldn't you? Tom Brady
we can always find a narrative.
7 touchdowns.
We can always find a narrative to fit what we want it to fit. Always.
Couldn't you say that with Tom Brady on the tuck rule against the Raiders? He fumbled the ball. They gave it back to him, didn't they?
Changed the rule after that. You remember they changed the rule. The rules got changed after that.
877-99 on Fox.
Mike in Wichita, you're on the Odd Couple. What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Hey, Big Rob, I appreciate you guys having me on. Hey, TJ,
What's
I ain't
up?
talked to you in like about 19 years or so. I don't know if you was at you was at Doritos when I called upon you at the time. I was coaching at Fort Hays State in Kansas, but you was going to Oregon State. But I did make a call to you. But anyway, I did get 4 of your teammates: Charles Lewis, Mike Ballou, Elmer Tarver, and Chris Owens.
You didn't have enough of that illegal NIL money back then.
Chris Owens, Charles Lewis, Mike Blue. I remember all 3 of those dudes. I remember all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Charles Lewis was a running back. Chris Owens was a receiver. Yeah, I remember them dudes.
Yeah, C. Lou I thought was better than McDonald. McDonald went to BYU, but I was fortunate enough to get C. Lou, and he was my running back for sure. But yeah, they and I used to, Three doses. I'm from around the way anyway. But anyway, and then I coached. I moved after I left Fort Hays. I went and coached at Victorville at Victory Valley High, and was fortunate enough to be in the. We won one of the Axe games.
You got a comment on Mahomes or?
Yeah, I do. Hey,
I'm not trying to break this up, but y'all need to have a cup of coffee and a sweet roll.
Right. Hey, but he got to get somebody else, a real guy. Like you see that guy talking about he had Tyreek Hill. Yeah, Tyreek Hill. All he needed is Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. Now, you can't double team both of them because then you can get the backs out like he did, just like they did before. When you try and take away both of them, the other guys came through. Right now, all these guys, they just happy to be there, guys. They ain't guys that you can put on any team and they can make a difference.
It's funny because he won the Super Bowl last year with the same group. Just I think missing Juju's the only guy who wasn't there. It's the same exact group, and last year he got all the credit because they won without Tyreek Hill. It's just amazing how last year it was good enough and it was all about him, and they said, "Oh, it doesn't matter who the receivers are, right?" TJ, am I wrong?
That's what.
But
they
the
said.
younger guys.
No, but I'm just saying that's what they said last year when he won.
Yeah. But those younger guys that made a difference last year ain't doing it this year because they've been told to step up, and they haven't stepped up. They stayed on the same step, and they lost anything over the top. They don't. Number 4 was that Rice. He's just now starting to do a little bit of something. But you know what? You can take him out. All you need is a good DB to take him out.
No, I got it. I appreciate the call. Thank you. The former NFL Executive of the Year, host of the Football GM podcast, and, of course, a Fox Sports Radio NFL analyst. And, Randy, we got so much to ask you. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Happy New Year to you.
Yes, hope you had a great holiday, Randy, you and the family. Not a good one for Russell Wilson, who found out that his season is over. What do you make of this? Is this strictly financial? It tells you that they don't want him anymore and that they're going to move off of him. And how shocked are you by this?
Well, I do think it's somewhat more complicated. I don't think it's as simple as leaving him out to dry. Obviously, these injury guarantees are part of some negotiations, and they come with a little bit of a target. I understand that. Those that don't have the injury guarantees to this level, and this is obviously big money, so everybody's involved, they wouldn't be a target in this case. So I'll say this, and I'm not sure anybody's blaming Russell for where they're at because he's actually played fairly well, in my opinion. I just think this offense as a whole is really not what Sean Payton wants to run. The system isn't what he prefers. I think this is the hand he was dealt when he took over that team, and he's tried to make it work. I think it's been a work in progress all year. They've really become a power running team and a play-action pass team, and that's not Sean. So I think he's tried to make it work. I think he also wants to see what it looks like with Jared Stidham because they got to look at all options right now going into next year. So it's kind of convoluted. I hate to see Russell take the heat for it. It is what it is, and I don't think we'd be having this conversation had the injury guarantee not been negotiated in there when he did the deal.
Randy, being a former general manager, take us into when do these conversations first take place of, okay, is this a possibility? When are we going to bench Russ? When do we do this? When are these conversations first broached, and when do they take place? And take us through that process, that behind the scenes between coach and front office of finally moving off Russ. But when does this start to take place?
Well, I think when the discussion becomes risk versus reward. And I think in this case, this, as we found out more today, has been ongoing for several weeks. I do know that the Broncos kind of went to Russ, and I think they were willing to bench him 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was under the impression that he might rework his deal because he wanted to stay the starter. The same thing happened with Derek Carr last year with the Raiders. They ended up benching him for, arguable reasons, but the main one was they didn't want an injury to trigger a guarantee the following year. So these conversations happen when salary makes you a target, when guarantees make you a target. They're all the fallout from the amount of money now that players, one, are due, but two, are negotiated in their contract, and it's risk reward. The team just couldn't risk next year's cap being under, an additional guarantee being tacked onto it. So I think each case is different. I think, but when the risk outweighs the reward, they figure they got to do something about it, and now's the time.
The Chiefs. Let's go to the Chiefs, and I mean, Randy, can you believe that the Raiders didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters and beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
Had to laugh
in Kansas City. I mean, seriously, like shocking. And then today, Dante Hall, the former Chiefs legend, said Patrick Mahomes needs to be checked down Tom Brady now and stop with the home runs. Where are you on what's gone wrong and what should be done to fix this?
Well, I think it stems, in my opinion, with a couple things, but I think the offensive line has struggled all year, and I think that's where the basis behind where this offense has struggled. I'm not a fan of what they've done to the perimeter for Patrick, but what it's done, and I think everybody's a little bit to blame. The front office, I think the players were a little bit misevaluated that when they built this team, but the point is the margin for error isn't what it used to be. There's no margin for error for Patrick. There's no margin for error for Kelsey. Kelsey looks to me like he's a little tired as well, and I don't see teams doubling him like they have in the past. I think he's still very effective versus zone coverage, but people are kind of leaning towards him a little bit, and the other guys just haven't made plays. But I think the crux of it is they struggle up front to protect long enough where guys can get open and especially can get deep to make big plays. They just have not been an explosive offense like they've been in the past. And when their defense doesn't play perfect, you see what's happened. I think the most disappointing thing to me was the reaction and kind of the meltdown that we saw from Kelsey. We saw a meltdown from Mahomes. They just kind of lost their poise, and we're not used to seeing that in Kansas City.
Randy, is it as easy as this? Get a game-changing receiver, things change? Or is it more to it that the Chiefs, Brett Veach, Andy Reid need to do? Or is it if we can get a game-changer on the outside, and he doesn't have to be
there were possibilities
a
they could have
Devontae
done.
Adams, but you need a speed, somebody that can threaten them vertically. Is that what it is? Or you give Juwan Taylor money like he's Trent Williams and he isn't? What is the fix?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I do agree with you in that. See, Tony can run, TJ. He can stretch it, but they just don't use him like they use Tyreek and some of the other people. Maybe it's just not his thing, but I do agree with you. They need somebody that can force defenses to defend them differently, even if they don't throw it deep. And I don't know that they have that. But I think that Juwan, and you mentioned the tackle, they've kind of miscalculated up there. That offensive line is not very good. So I think they misjudged some talent evaluations. They jumped out and paid some big money. And they've had a lot of change. I mean, I know the NFL is all about change, but Eric Bieniemy's gone. Matt Nagy's now involved more than the last 4 or 5 years preceding it. The tackles situation is a struggle. The perimeter players, it's been a struggle. They haven't ran the ball much at all. So there's a lot of things going on there, and it just gives them no margin for error.
Hey, Randy, we got about a minute to go. Jair Alexander, how tough is that? You're the Packers. You got to suspend one of your best players. Yeah. I think he's the highest paid corner in a big game. Like, this is a big game that could be the difference between you making the playoffs or not. And how does that happen where a player goes out there seriously and nobody stopped him or said, what is he doing? I mean, how did this happen?
I don't know, and I don't think they want to suspend him, that's for sure. I just think it got kind of out of hand. And I'd ask TJ, I said, TJ, have you ever found and seen anything like this?
I've never, TJ.
He's not dressing. I understand he's from Charlotte. I get it. And he kind of appointed himself as captain and then vocally got involved and almost screwed things up. So they almost have to do something about it just so it never happens again.
It's more to that, though, Randy. It's more to it. They let him get away with so much leading up to this.
Yep,
this just was the straw that broke the camel's back. But when you pregame, Randy, the coach don't see him walking out there, and they don't. What are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you get there? How do you get to midfield?
You see him walking out to the coin toss. Somebody's gonna go grab him. But what happens is you let them get away with little things all throughout the year. And then they start to get greedy and think they can get away with a big thing. And
is that a reflection of that defense that's already taken on heat for a lot of things that details-wise seem to slip through the cracks?
It's amazing.
Very true.
All right. Yeah. Hey, Randy, always a pleasure, my man. Thanks for the insight, the knowledge. Happy New Year to you and your family, my man. Thank you.